In today's lesson, I'm going to walk you through the basic theory behind diminished chords. I'll teach you 3 simple chord shapes you can use all over the fretboard, and we'll discuss some of their most common uses. My name is Jack Ruch. Welcome to my channel. Let's get into it. So there are 4 basic types of chords: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. And today we're going to focus in on diminished chords. Now, a basic diminished triad consists of the root, the minor third, and the flatted fifth. If we play a B diminished chord, these are the notes B, D, and F. Now, this diminished chord occurs naturally in our diatonic family of chords for the key of C major. If we look at the C major scale, and we build a chord for every note of that scale using only the notes within that scale, we get this family of chords: C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then back to C major. So this naturally occurring diminished chord plays an important role in harmony because it's great for building tension. This diminished chord naturally wants to resolve back to the root chord. In this case, I'm playing a B fully diminished 7th chord. That's a B diminished triad with the addition of the note G sharp. And if we look at this chord, it has 3 notes that are half step away from C major. And those half steps create a strong pull back to the tonic. B wants to move up to C, F down to E, G sharp down to G, and then finally D resolves a whole step down to C. So this is very similar to the tension created by a dominant 5 chord. In the key of C major, the dominant 5 chord is G7. And if we look at the notes to G7, we have G, B, D, and F. So right there, our B, D, and F create a B diminished triad. So the diminished sound lives within our dominant chords, and these diminished voicings can be a great substitute for our dominant 5 chord. So let's get into some voicings. I'm going to show you 3 grips for diminished 7th chords. One with the root on the low E string, one with the root on the A string, and one with the root on the D string. And then I'll show you how you can move these grips around to cover the whole fretboard. So for this first voicing, we're going to play the note B on the 7th fret of the low E string with our middle finger. Then we're going to skip over the A string and play the note G sharp on the 6th fret of the D string with our first finger. Then with our middle finger, we're going to grab the note D on the 7th fret of the G string. And finally, the note F on the 6th fret of the B string. We're going to grab this by barring our first finger across. So there's a little bar right there. So it's the 7th fret of the E string, the A string is muted, the 6th fret of the D string, 7th fret of the G string, 6th fret of the B string, and then the high E string is also muted. Now this next voicing has the root note on the A string. This is going to start with B on the 2nd fret of the A string with our middle finger, then F on the 3rd fret of the D string with our ring finger, then G sharp on the 1st fret of the G string with our first finger, and finally D on the 3rd fret of the B string with our pinky. For this final voicing, we're going to play the root on the D string. We're going to slide up here to the 9th fret of the D string and play the note B with our first finger. Then F on the 10th fret of the G string with our ring finger. Then G sharp on the 9th fret of the B string with our middle finger. And then finally D on the 10th fret of the high E string with our pinky. Now what's cool about these diminished 7th chords is that all of these notes, B, D, F, and G sharp, are separated by a minor third. So all we have to do to find inversions for these chords is take any one of these grips and slide it up 3 frets. Right? If we start here we get B, F, G sharp, and D. If we slide it up 3 frets, we get D, G sharp, B, and F. Slide it up 3 more frets, we get F, B, D, and G sharp. And finally, 3 more frets, we get G, D, F, and B. So it's all the same notes, just stacked in a different order. And we can do this with any of the 3 grips that we've got, right? This lower grip can be moved around in minor thirds. This top grip, same thing. We can move it around in minor thirds. So just with these 3 hand positions, we can really cover the whole fretboard. All right, so now I'm going to play a little piece that I came up with to demonstrate how I use these grips and how they can be moved around the fretboard. This is going to use a lot of diminished passing chords to build tension throughout the chord progression. I'll throw the chords up on the screen as we go. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Head over to my Patreon page for the tabs for these examples, as well as this backing track. The link is down in the description. Until next time, happy practicing and take care.